We are so glad that you are here with us. And today we're just talking just briefly about gratitude. And that's such a beautiful word when you think about it. And it's such a beautiful state to be in, just in a constant state of gratitude. Um, I would like to just start off with a a quote that Ali had shared with us way back when we did our first free writing session, and it was about gratitude. And I'm just going to read it just so that I don't get it wrong. Gratitude is seeing God. I don't think there's anything that isn't God. I think gratitude is acknowledgement. That's such a powerful quote. And do you remember when you shared that with us, Alyssa, during our free writings? Well, it actually
Yeah,
wasn't a
yeah,
free writing. It was
yeah.
just like when it was like a blog post. And this was already back 2 years ago. And I remember I had asked you and you had come up with that. And I thought it was beautiful because it's so spot on.
Yeah, it was a blog post. What were you gonna say?
No, I was just going to say it was so spot on. So spot on.
Yeah, I think it's the acknowledgement is key when we acknowledge not only what's around us, but what's within us as well.
Mhm.
Um,
Gratitude can be assimilated if we are willing and wanting to see it, regardless of the thoughts that may come up otherwise. We don't need to wait for something extravagant to express gratitude. We do need to acknowledge it often, though, for it to become a lifestyle.
and I want to spotlight for a little bit the thoughts that may say otherwise,
Mhm.
because sometimes we may not be in the state of gratitude, and sometimes we need a reminder, or sometimes in the midst of it all we forget to acknowledge the the grand the bigger picture of it all, and it's acceptance. I think that gratitude comes hand in hand with acceptance. I think that acknowledgement is acknowledging yourself and your surroundings through the thoughts that may say otherwise, or through when you feel that you're not in that space of gratitude. I think it begins with acknowledgement. I think it begins with acceptance,
Mhm.
to be willing to see your beauty of this whole experience, the beauty of you being alive. I think it starts there. I think it's because how do we move into a lifestyle of gratitude?
Mm.
And for some people it may feel like a big jump. It may feel like, well, how am I going to, especially if you feel like you have circumstances around you that feed the thoughts that say otherwise.
Mhm.
So how do we move into that gratitude? And I think it's a lifestyle that
Mm.
happens step by step,
Mhm.
when we decide, when we choose, and when we commit ourselves to seeing ourselves, to being our cheerleaders, to accepting ourselves.
Acceptance, right? Because and that's one of the things that we talked about with gratitude, that it changes denial into acceptance. It changes confusion into clarity, chaos into order, all of these different things. And the interesting thing about gratitude also is it's almost like a chain reaction. I think about when we had one of our free writing sessions and we had a group of women that were talking about it and talking about gratitude. And one woman brought up that she was in a supermarket and she helped this older person on the shelf, and she didn't think anything of it because it's just something that she likes to do. Usually when she's in the supermarket, she finds joy and just finding things for the person that can't find things. Oh, it's in aisle 13. Let me go help you. I'll pick it out for you. And something that she finds just something like, oh, it's no big deal to her. This is what I do. I do it all the time when I'm at the supermarket. For this older lady, this person, she all of a sudden was so happy because she was like, oh, thank you so much for helping me. And that her feeling and that moment, she took it home with her, and who knows, maybe she spoke to whoever was in her home with her, or spoke to a friend or a neighbor and said, I ran into this nice lady who helped me with something off the shelf. I'm so grateful for people like that. So she sparked gratitude in someone else without realizing it, without really, that wasn't the intention. So I feel that gratitude can be something that's like from our acts of love or acts of serving someone else or acts of peace, spark gratitude in someone else. So therefore they become more grateful because of an experience like that. And I just remembered when someone brought that up in one of our sessions.
Yeah. And I feel like when gratitude becomes a lifestyle or part of your lifestyle,
Mm-hmm.
um, it's it's something that is cultivated from within. So you may not even realize that helping another person or taking something from the shelf is creating that chain effect, but it does. I mean, everything also has, it's just, is it positive or is it
Mm-hmm.
not serving,
Mm-hmm.
the most positive experience.
Mm-hmm.
um so how can we move deeper into gratitude so that, because my whole thing is creating stability within ourselves so that we're not necessarily dependent on our circumstances to give us gratitude or to it can highlight it, but how can we move deeper into gratitude so that it's something that arises from within us,
Mm-hmm.
something that becomes part of our mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And the jump I was referring to earlier as well is that mindset change, because sometimes those thoughts that may say otherwise, it's requires a change in perspective or a change in mindset.
Right. Right. Yeah. And and also to piggyback off of that, when our light goes out, right? Because it can get dim with whatever it's going to get dim with. um it can be rekindled through those acts, I think.
Mhm.
Even those acts of kindness, those acts of love, all of a sudden we get sparked, that
Mhm.
rekindles within us. It's very contagious. It's extremely contagious. So
That reminds me of love. That reminds me of,
yes,
but
whole
I'm not,
nother.
I know. It's just it's I feel that falling in love is that spark.
Mm,
It's that spark. That's the
yeah.
spark that is igniting yet again in you. And
Mhm.
it's not necessarily about the other person per se, but that's another video.
No,
So
it's totally not. But that's another video that I'm sure we will bring to you guys next time. But on that note, I'd like to leave you with a word on gratitude, which we kind of just touched on it a little bit, but I'll read all of what had come out of Talks Inspires free writing session. At times, our own light goes out and is rekindled by a spark from another person. Gratitude unlocks the fullness of life. It turns what we have into enough and more. Isn't that true? Isn't that true? It turns denial into acceptance, chaos to order, confusion to clarity. It can turn a meal into a feast, a house into a home, a stranger into a friend. Isn't that true? Isn't that the power of what being in a constant state of gratitude brings forth? So on that note,
I just want to quickly share
yes.
a couple of tips or suggestions to move deeper into gratitude wherever you are on the spectrum. And again, like we said earlier, and we often say it begins with awareness. So becoming aware is one, becoming aware of where you are in this moment and the thoughts that you currently are having so that you can begin to shift those thoughts. Another is reading. If you reading or watching inspirational videos or listening to inspirational podcasts, you bring that into your space. You bring things or people that can represent gratitude for you so that you can begin to accept it into yourself and allow it to rise from yourself. And then the third, I would say, is being aware of those things, being aware in those moments where you're doing the things that you love. It can be eating something that you really, really enjoy. I love food, so food is one of the best examples. So when you're having a bite of that, of whatever it is that you're eating, just enjoy it. Like really, really, really pay attention to the texture, the smell. First, pay attention to the smell. How does it smell right before you bite into it?
Chicken tikka masala with some naan. Oh my gosh.
The smell. And then, when you're cooking it or when you walk into a shop and you just smell it. Yeah. And then when you bite into it, the texture, the warmth or the temperature and how it tastes. So that's one way, or whatever it is that you're doing, whether you love singing or dancing, bring your awareness and your attention into it. And that can also help you cultivate more gratitude into your life.
Wow. I'm sorry, were you gonna give us some
No.
more? No. Well, thank you so much, Ali, for those tips. You always come out with some great ones.
Thank you.
So we hope that you enjoyed this video, and we hope that you will come back again and see our next video when we talk a little bit more within the whole realm of self-exploration. And that's what we are here for, is to join you on that self-exploration journey. So we thank you so much for being here, and we will see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye, everyone.